Quick disclaimer, if you're above hearing a grown man argue and rant off about a video game, then I would quickly advise you to stray away from the video at hand. But if you're here to listen, then I will propose my ideas upon relics and why I feel like they should probably be looked into again. Otherwise that, well, let's get into it. So, let's talk about how the old system was that we used to have. And I'm not going to look back at this, so hear me out. I'm not going to look back at this for eyes of nostalgia, because honestly that had a few problems. And I'll go over the problems, the weaknesses, and the strengths of all these different systems that we have. So, back then, we used to use keys instead of these relics. So we would go to navigation, we'd go into the void, and we'd pick our relic that we had to farm. Back then, all you had to do was put in one key. You could farm for as long as you want on that one key, that everyone could just ride off of that one key. So the host, any other player, could literally just put in one key into the system, and then everybody would be able to get free stuff from it. You could go for 20 minutes in a survival, or you could go 3 hours in it. You could go 1 wave or 5 waves in a defense, or you could go for 100. It didn't matter. You would still have to use one key, and you'd always get the resources that you wanted. Provided, though, all that sounds amazing, but everybody kind of knows a few problems about them. One, the keys were the higher tier keys were kind of annoying to farm, and they kind of were, just a little bit. But to a more hardcore player, it really wasn't that bad. But to newer players, I hear a lot of complaints that a lot of those were pretty bad to get, and they're kind of difficult, and they just didn't want to do it. So we did a different thing called key sharing. Basically, we'd get together in a group in a public chat, and then we'd ask a whole bunch of people to give us some free rides on keys. And we do a rotation, so if you went in, did 20 waves on a defense, and then got out, and then somebody would have to put in another key. And then when it came to that last person's turn, they would leave instead of actually doing that. So people were bumming off of keys, which wasn't a huge issue for a lot of people, considering if you're running in a group of people that you already know. But it was an issue nonetheless. And plus, you had to always jump on the wiki to figure out what you wanted to get. You also had to figure out which one you wanted to go to and all that other crap. And on top of that, sometimes, let's say I was going for a Saren chassis, I'd have to go into a tier 3 defense, or a tier 3 survival even. And I'd have to go 20 minutes to get a chance at a tier C reward. Now, some of you may know that there were a lot of things dropping in the C rotation of a tier 3 survival. So that was pretty painful. And to the point where it's just like, oh man, I don't really want to fucking do a survival anymore. I guess I'll just do something else then for the next month, and then maybe I'll come back to it. So it was a really big turnoff for a lot of people. But since the introduction of this new system, now you can do whatever mission you like, anywhere, on any planet, against any enemies, provided it did spawn in a couple of void enemies, so that it's no big deal. But of any level, and now that we're introduced to the infinite missions of survivals and defenses and interceptions and all that, we can do those missions forever, and we can keep collecting stuff, and as long as we've succeeded through the mission, we would get to keep our stuff. Even if you failed, you could still keep all of the relics that you opened. So this is a really nice system, and I like it a lot, but I feel like it should be changed a little bit, considering the fact that, one, there are so freaking many relics. Like here, let's go ahead and take a look at how many relics we got. Console loading times, I know. Fucking abysmal. So, this is how many Agzi relics that we know of. That's a lot. And this is all full of crap that we all love to hate. This is how many Lith relics, Mesa, like, look at all of these relics that we have. This is so many keep track of. I don't even know which one is actually the one that drops the Ash Prime blueprint. I really don't. And this is another thing that really bothers me. Back in the day, we used to be able to say, like, I know where to go get Ash Prime blueprint. We'll go on like a tier 3 defense, and then we'll go to 20 waves, and then we'll see if we can get one. Now here, I don't even know where it is, provided it does have a solution to this, where you can go in here, search up Ash, let's say Ash, and then you can look in here, oh, Ash Prime Blueprint, right there. Bam. He's a B tier reward, and he's the second one next to the Soma. And also his other stuff. Oh, and there he is again. There he is again. So it's a very good system, and I like what they did with it, and this really makes it a lot easier to be able to be like, you know what, I don't know where Ash drops. Let's go ahead and look at it, instead of having to consult the wiki, which gives a lot of players, new players even, a little bit more of a fighting chance to figure out what things are. But I seriously can't tell you off the top of my head which one drops this, which one drops that. So it's really confusing. There aren't too many solutions for that. On top of that, you also have to spend an abysmal amount of resources into refining these relics. So I have to spend 100 void traces into this one thing if I want to try to get a small chance at getting an Axtiletto Prime blueprint, provided it's more significant than not having it at all. But that's a lot of void traces. I have to go in and do at least like 3, maybe even 4 runs of just a single mission, just so that way I can get one relic refined. That is hilariously like painful to do. So on top of being like you have to farm for void traces, I have to, like, let's say Oberon Prime drops tomorrow. So I have to go farm his relics. And then after that, I have to go farm other relics, so that way I can put them into those relics, so that way I can go get the parts I want. So there's 3 stages of farming. So I have to farm, so I can farm to farm. There's 3 different stages, and this is painful to do. And the grind of it is just it's a lot. It really is, and it's really not fun. And I know a lot of people that actually quit the game because of this. And don't get me wrong, I'm not threatening to quit the game or anything like that. I really love this game, and I really do enjoy what it has to offer, and I really just want to see this new system be a little bit better than it already is. Because I like this a lot. It drops the value of a lot of Prime Warframes because it's painful to fucking go farm those things, or to actually buy those, because back in the day, if some people remember that Frost Prime would even sell in the 2000s of Platinum, and even more so for Ember, and now it's pretty cheap. On top of that, the relics are too. So it solves a lot of problems, but it also creates quite a few. So neither of these systems aren't really without their flaws, and I'll go over a few of new ideas that I have onto this. And you can feel free to disagree with me and tell me what I should do instead, or if you have your own ideas, you can tell me, because I'd be more than willing to listen to anything you have to say. So, I propose a few ideas. So all of these, Lith, Meso, and some of Neo provided, maybe even all of them if you really wanted to, make all of these drop from enemies on the regular. And I'm not saying like I pop an enemy in the skull and I pop another one and they both drop relics all the time. How about you make it just as rare as fusion cores used to be? If not, maybe a little bit more so. And have it I just want it to be more plentiful, instead of it having to go to like, I really dread the day where I have to fucking go to like an earth defense or something like that, just so I can get one relic that I really need to, because it's really not fun, and I really don't enjoy that a lot. So I want to see that kind of alleviated, a little bit of pain on us. So, on top of having that, and I didn't mention Axes, and Axes would stay where they are into like all the excavations and defenses that you get these from, and all the above. I'd rather see these stay put, because considering that they're higher tier rewards, I think that's fine where they are right now. But as for the other ones, how about no? How about when I'm doing, like, I'm farming for Axie relics, I'm getting other relics on top of that. So if I'm going into a Huracan, I'm also getting Mesos and Neos and Liths and other shit on top of getting my Axie ones. Because if I shove all of these relics, provided not necessarily all of them, like A2s don't actually go into rotation because they're only buyable through the Void Trader, but I digress. All of these relics combined with all of these relics in one run of your Huracan, for example. This is so many. So freaking many. Provided some of these are vaulted. Like Nova, this one's vaulted, so I can't necessarily get this one anymore. Like, this is an abysmal amount of Neo relics that are just coming out of one rotation that is so annoying to just get one H1 Axie relic. Like here, let's see how many I have. I don't know why I put an accent on that one. Yeah, there it is. I have 8 of these, and this is after numerous days of just farming this over and over and over and over and over. I've spent like 5 days in a row just going into Huracans, and I've only gotten 8 of these. This is this sucks a lot. And it's not that I went in there, got out, went in there, got out, went in there, got out. I went in there for like 4,000 cryotic, or even 5,000 cryotic even, and just get in, get out. As soon as I get 5,000 cryotic. And I end up with 8 of these. That's a lot. That means I farmed 40 of these things on the daily for 5 days in a row. So you do the math. That's a lot. And I still didn't get what I wanted. Or a lot of what I wanted, necessarily. So I'm not saying this because it's like farming's too hard, or I don't like this new system as much, but I do like it because it alleviates a lot of the pressure that we had before. Because now I can freely do whatever mission I want. Like I want Saren Prime chassis. I don't have to do a tier 3 survival anymore. I can just do whatever I want. I can do a fucking capture mission if I really want to, provided that it comes in rotation. I digress again. I really like that. But I feel like these should drop a little bit more plentifully, and I should be getting way more of these than I am right now. And it just really sucks. Again, some of these are vaulted, so it's not all of these. A few of them are. So I want to see these drop more plentifully, just from enemies in general. I just want them to come from enemies, not necessarily I have to fucking go into a defense on a lower level just to fucking, like, bang my head against a door in a defense, just so I can get a chance at getting a Meso B1, for example. I'm not saying that you can. So, out of all of these, I have a chance to get one of these, which sucks a lot. So, taking that all into account, though, I really do like the system, but I want to change the fact that this takes 100 to make this completely filled and actually make it so that way I have a better chance of getting a Axolotl blueprint. It's not even guaranteed. I went 7 runs in a row on a endless mission, and I still didn't get what I wanted. And all my friends had the exact same relic. 7 times in a row, 4 players together didn't get what they wanted. 7 whole times in a row. So I'm not saying that you should increase the chance because I think it's fine where it is, but just remove the fact that it needs to be 100. You can keep the 100 there, and I'll explain why in a second. But make Radiant 75, and make the next tier 100. I'll go over that in a bit. But I just feel like it sucks a lot, and also that arm disappears. It's weird. Okay. Enough of my ADHD. So, yeah, I really feel like it needs to be changed ever so slightly. That being said, the guarantee on these items at the very, very bottom, I know they're rare, I know they're supposed to be rare, but how about this? We guarantee the player to get that item, but they have to jump through an enormous hoop. And that being said, how about we make, when you put them into 100, it unlocks a mission at the front of your ship that you can go to in these fissure missions, and it's like a sortie mission, like a level 100 survival that you have to survive 20 minutes on, and it also has several modifiers to it. Like, if you can crank up the fucking difficulty in my face, I challenge that. I would love a really hardcore challenge, like fucking, how about a mobile defense with radiation hazard? Okay, how about a mobile defense with radiation hazard, electromagnetic anomalies, and augmented enemy armor, for example. How about that? How about Eximus Stronghold augmented enemy armor and magnetic anomalies? How about that? That sounds difficult as shit. I would love to do that. Are you kidding me? I would more than love to do that. That would be insane to go and do that. That would put a lot of challenge on some of the newer players, though. But provided you do have the skills to go through this, you can achieve this. You can make it a 3-tier mission where you have to go through a survival, then a defense, then a capture, or something of the sort. Or even an assassination, like put Vayhek, augmented enemy armor, and then Eximus Stronghold and reduced energy. How about that? That sounds really, really difficult, and I would love to do it. At a guaranteed chance for an Axolotl Prime blueprint. That would make earning these feel more worth it than dumb luck. I really don't like the idea of just having to do this off of my luck and RNG. I would love to farm for that, so, like, that would be difficult as shit, and I would love that to pieces. I know a lot of people that actually like that idea a lot. So, How about that? That's just this is literally all just up for subject, and it's not necessarily that I want this to happen. I do actually want it to happen, but this must happen. This is more like spitballing. So, just a quick recap. I want all of these to be dropping from enemies. Lith, Mesa, and Neo. I want these to drop from enemies, not necessarily on like an enormous chance to do it. Like 70% of the time the enemy will drop it. How about like 25% of the time they'll drop a relic? Or maybe even less, like 15% or 10% even. Maybe even 5. Fuck it. Let's make it 5% chance that these drop these. And when they do drop these, they have chances to drop every single one of these. Axes can stay as they are. And also, when you're making these radiant, they don't cost 75. And you can also get to a sortie tier version of this where it's literally guaranteed, but when you fail the sortie mission, you don't get to lose this. You can try again if you really want to. Or wait till another sortie mission comes into rotation or something like that. Well, I'm just using this as an example. Also, how about we make the cap on your refinement just a lot higher, because that's kind of BS. I'm not saying 10 times. How about you make it follow up with our MR? I know it already does, but it's only half of our MR. So I'm MR 23, and this is giving me 1,250 as my cap. How about we make that 2,500? Why not? 25 of these things being radiant versus fucking 12? I think that'd be fair. I really do. I'm not saying remove it entirely. I think it's a necessary evil, and a lot of people will hate me for saying that, but I feel like that's fair. But at least double the capacity for me. And another thing, how about we make the void traces also drop from the void? Make the void a little bit more useful now to newer players and also like hardcore players or even veterans or anything like that. Because me as a hardcore player, there's no reason for me to fucking go into a Mott survival other than for shits and giggles to show off how awesome my Ivara is or how awesome my Necros is at being Naramon. Like I don't see a point. Other than having to go take my friend through when she doesn't like have all the mods or Argon crystals, there's really no point for me to do so. So, I offered that. So, just a quick recap again. These 3 drop from enemies. Okay? Lith, Meso, Neo drops from enemies. Axes stay where they are. We can refine these up to 75 for Radiant or 100 for a guaranteed chance at the Vectis Prime stock, for example. For a sortie mission that is quite difficult. Then, also make the void traces drop from the void to actually make the void a little bit more relevant. Because honestly, there's no reason to go to the void other than maybe Rubidoux, Argon crystals, Rage, and some of the challenge rooms. But other than that, it's pretty much just kind of pointless to go into there, other than showing off how cool you are at being really good at the game. So, again, these are my ideas. And I don't hate the system. I, in fact, love it. I would just like to see some tweaks to it, because some of it gives me aneurysms when I have to fucking do 3 stages of farming, because Oberon Prime, let's say he drops tomorrow, I have to farm for the relics, then I have to farm relics to refine that relic, then I can farm. So how about we make it a little less painstaking for us? Just a thought. Again, this is all subject to whatever person hears me and whoever really cares. I'm a very simple man. I would be more than willing to listen to your people's criticism and your people's, man. I'm really good at this English thing, aren't I? I would be more than willing to listen to your guys' criticism. And even if you don't agree with me, if you think it should stay the same, if you think you have a better idea, I would love to hear this. So this is just a thought. Again, I don't really care if you hate the idea, but I would love to hear your criticism. And if you can offer me some sort of like a subject of change to it, so it's like, I think it's a little unfair that these drop from enemies. Okay, well then give me your thoughts. What do you think should be done instead? Because these need to be a little bit more common, in my opinion. Because how often I have my friends go through these, like, as a newer player, I honestly have way too many relics. Like me complaining about the fact that I don't have enough relics is kind of that's an argument that holds no weight. Because I have a shitload of relics. Like, look at this. 143 V2 relics. That's a little bit too many. Among other relics that I have, this is just way too many. So, that argument holds no weight for myself. But newer players have a really rough time going through their relics. Like, they need Forma so bad. Like, all of the weapons inside the dojo require Forma. A whole bunch of weapons that you need to combine together require Forma. Everything that you see over there requires Forma. It's just... And they need to farm a lot of relics. And sometimes they don't get the Forma. Sometimes they don't get what they want. So please, refute this with me. Do you want to see this kind of thing given a chance? Or do you have a better idea? Or if you've seen somebody else have the same idea as me, or just a little bit different, please link that to me. I would love to hear a whole bunch of arguments on what they should do. Because obviously these aren't without their flaws. I hope you enjoyed this. If not, just stuck with me throughout this, and I appreciate you making it this far into the video. And as always, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time, and other generic outros.